Good morning. Marvin Minnie here to speak with you concerning my persuasive speech. Okay, now what I'm going to do with this speech is one main thing. I'm going to try to persuade you into doing something. Actually, I'm going to try to persuade you into not doing something. Okay? Now, the cat's out the bag. I told you what my plan was. I gave you my agenda. But that's okay, because see, what I want to speak to you about this morning while I'm in front of you for a couple of minutes is something that's so important. I don't have a problem with letting you know what exactly my plan is. Alright, because what I hope to do is I want to plant a seed that can hopefully blossom into a flower of knowledge that you can utilize for yourself or for a close friend or a family member or a loved one that is in some problems, in some trouble, and hopefully this can help them out. So that's what my plan is here today while I speak to you. So let me get started with this because I do have a little bit to cover. Alright, a nemesis. A nemesis. What a nemesis is, for those of you who don't know, a nemesis is actually an opponent. Really, it's a formidable opponent that is usually victorious. In other words, that opponent beats you more than you beat it. That's what a nemesis is. Now, I'm a bowler. I bowl every Monday night for the last maybe 7, 8, 9 years. I bowl in a league. Okay, I'm a pretty good bowler. I have a vicious, distinguished right hook. Alright, I start on the left, go all the way out to the right, come back in, strike. That's the strike symbol right there, if you didn't know. Now, I'll hit a couple strikes, but not all the time. Now, mind you, I'm not a pro. I'm not a pro. So, I won't hit a lot of strikes, but I will hit my good share of them. Now, in the far right corner of the bowling alley, of your pins, there's a pin way in the right corner. It's the 10 pin. Now, because of my right hook, my ball will shoot right past that 10 pin and I'll miss it. Sometimes my ball will actually hit the 10 pin. It'll sway a couple seconds, but it will still stand up. That 10 pin is my nemesis. That 10 pin is my nemesis. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about my bowling. I'm not even here to talk to you about my 10 pin. But I am here to talk to you about a nemesis of mine, which hopefully is also a nemesis of yours as well. And that's substance abuse. Now, yes, I've been in front of you a couple of times dealing with this topic. It's a passion of mine. I have 22 years, I think around 22 years in drug counseling. I actually have that same amount of years of being clean. I used to get high. So not only can I come at you with experience, with knowledge, with schooling, with know-how, I can come at you with I walked the walk because I was there. Okay, because as soon as I stopped getting high, I started jumping into drug counseling. And that's what I've been doing up until today. I enjoy doing it. I like helping people, and I want to continue doing that. And hopefully I can help somebody this morning with the few minutes I have in front of you. That's where I'm going with this. Okay, let's get started with this. I'm going to share 2 scenarios with you real fast. About a week or so ago, I went to go see a pastor, a friend of mine. Now, he's not my pastor of my church, but he is a pastor of a church. He's actually the pastor that married my brother. I met him, he's a good guy. So I utilize him to help me out. See, me being a counselor, I'm always feeding people. But see, sometimes when you feed all the time, you got to get replenished so you can continue feeding. So when I beat people in the head, if you will, I need to go and get beat in the head myself so I can get myself right, continue on being right, get the right words to say, and just be in the know of what I need to continue on doing so I can continue helping people and feeding them. And that's what I utilize this pastor for. Actually, I have a couple pastors that I go see that actually help me out. So when I went to go see this pastor, now mind you, I live in Jersey, and the pastor in his church is in Camden, New Jersey. Now I don't know if you're familiar with Camden, New Jersey, but at one point in time, Camden, New Jersey was actually called the Other America. I think it was on Newsweek or some magazine, I forget, and it was called the Other America. Now it was called this because it is oversaturated, infested with drugs. Really, it's terrible out there. It's not a place to be in after dark. Anyway, when I went to go see this pastor, I put him in front of his church. And mind you, I witnessed a drug deal right behind my car, right in front of the church. I kind of chuckled because it reminded me that drugs do not discriminate. This is in front of a church. Of course, I informed the pastor, told him what I experienced, what I seen. He's well aware of it. He's been talking to the authorities. They're doing what they can. But again, it's almost like a losing battle. But anyway, what I did in that scenario was I kind of put myself in the predicament of if I was the buyer of these drugs. And I've asked myself, why would I put myself in a predicament to drive to a well-known oversaturated drug-infested area to buy some drugs and take the chance on getting caught? Why would I do that knowing that I could probably go to jail? That I could obtain a record? That if this isn't my first time, I could obtain another record, which means that when I went back to court, I would have to probably go see the same judge that gave me the first record. If I was able to get through this scenario and got stopped and was able to hide these drugs that I just bought, anyway you look at it, they're going to tear my car apart. And if they don't find them, they're not going to put my car back together. So why would I do this? Why would I take this chance on removing myself from my family if I get caught and go to jail? Why would I do this? That's one scenario. Another scenario was this. Same place, Camden, New Jersey. I used to work in the prison out there. Riverfront State Prison is where I used to work at. Now, I worked in a drug program inside the prison. I like the job. I like helping people. But it's located inside the prison. One thing I didn't like about it, as soon as I went in, I couldn't leave until my shift was over. I was right in there with the inmates. I wasn't scared, but you know, sometimes you want to take a break, take a ride, take a lunch break. You can't. You just go down to the mess hall. Anyway, while I was at this job, one thing I would notice, and I would hear what the inmates would say, well, I mean, they complained about everything. You know, they complained about the food, they complained about the clothes they got to wear, they complained about they have no freedom, they can't use the phone, whatever. They complain. Now, the funny thing was this. So why would I hear an inmate say something like this? You know, I'm only in here for selling drugs. I'm not in here for using drugs. So as soon as I get out of here, man, I can't wait to go home to drink a beer. I can't wait to go home to smoke a J. I can't wait to go home and do a line or shoot my arm up with some heroin. Why would you say something and go do something that you did that brought you in here in the first place and you're complaining about being in here? Why would you put yourself in a predicament where you continually remove yourself from your family? You continually remove yourself from your kids. You continually remove yourself from being a partner with paying your bills. You continually keep padding your criminal record. Why would you do this? Okay, see, this is what I'm here to speak with you about this morning. I like to call this my why factor. As you notice, I keep on using the word or question of why. And I think that if we use this why factor, then it'll help us out and it will enable us to make a better decision, or just not to make a dumb decision. See, the why factor is just really just a series of simple questions that we just need to ask ourselves about what we're planning on doing or what we are actually doing at that point in time. And when we ask ourselves these questions, if we can't answer it, or if our answer is negative or is stupid or it doesn't make any sense, then really the next question should be, why am I doing it? That's what the why factor is, and I think it really helps us out. Now, what the why factor is, like I said, it's just us asking each other questions. It's us asking ourselves questions. Now, because you'll find that if you ask yourself or anybody else a question of why they did something and it was good or positive, it's real simple to answer. It's real easy to answer. I mean, ask somebody, okay, you can ask a gentleman, sir, why did you help the lady across the street? Listen, man, it was 5 o'clock, man, it's traffic time. The lady's she has a cane, so she's unstable. I just wanted to make sure that she got across the street nice, safe, and sound. That's all. Perfect answer. Simple question, simple answer. We need more people like you out there. Simple. That's really easy to do. That's a good why. But flip that scene for a second and get a bad why in there or a negative why in there. Ask somebody why they get high. It's a good question. One of my favorite questions. Sir, why do you get high? Now, mind you, you'll get the O's and the ums. And the famous answer, because it makes you feel good. Really. So in other words, you're telling me that there's nothing else that you can do to make you feel good, as opposed to putting a mind-altering chemical in your body that's going to harm you when you're doing it. That's going to harm you in the future. That's going to have you possibly obtain a criminal record, take you from your kid, take you from your family, embarrass you, the whole nine, everything negative about it. There's nothing else that you can find to make you feel good except for using a drug. You see what I'm going? You see what I'm getting with this? It's a negative answer. They really couldn't answer it. That's why you got the O's and the ums. They couldn't answer it because they don't have a good answer for it, and they know it's not a good answer for it. So it's hard for them to answer. And that's what I mean by this why factor. If we utilize this, we'll find that if we can't answer, or if it's a stupid answer, why are we doing it? Now, what you'll find with this why factor is a couple different things. If somebody never used drugs, the why factor should probably work pretty good. I mean, it should work pretty good anyway, but it should work a little easier for somebody that never used drugs, because once again, it does resemble my straight mnemonic device, what I was speaking to you earlier about. Well, not in this speech, but in the previous one. It kind of resembles that, because you do stop and you do think. So it resembles it in that manner. But what it also does, it enables you to sit back and make a better decision. Now, you'll remember once we get to a certain point in our life, we're adults and we know things, and so we know about drugs. I mean, there's no way we can't. It's worldwide, it's global, it's rampant, it's infamous. We all know about drugs, and we also know that there's negativity surrounding drugs. So if we never use drugs and we utilize the why factor, it's going to probably be a little easier for us not to use them, because we've heard about them, we know it's negative. We start asking ourselves those questions, and we start realizing we don't have a good answer, we don't have an answer at all. I'm not going to do it. Done deal. Perfect. But when you utilize this why factor with somebody that has already used drugs, and unfortunately, when they use the drugs, maybe they got a good feeling from it. And let me park here for a second, because my feeling is this as far as using drugs. I hope and pray that when somebody decides to, or they are presented with the opportunity to use drugs for the very first time, I kind of hope and pray that they have a bad experience. And let me park it a little longer and explain myself. What I mean by that is this: I don't want anybody to die. I don't want nobody to get real, very sick or anything like that. No, I don't want that. But I do want you to maybe throw up, to get sick, but you can bounce back from that. Get embarrassed, maybe get caught. Anything like that that's negative, but you can still bounce back from, that will hopefully deter you from using it again. So when you do sit back and you think about if the situation presents itself again, and you do sit back and think about what happened previously, if you can remember those bad things that took place, hopefully that will sit back and say, man, nah, man, because last time I got high, man, I threw up like crazy. I was sick. I was all woozy, man. I got embarrassed. I'm not doing it anymore. Hopefully that's what happens. That's what happens. But sometimes it doesn't, because that's when euphoria comes into play. And what euphoria is, for those who don't know, is just a good feeling that your brain doesn't forget. That's a simple way of explaining it. It's a good feeling that your brain doesn't forget. Like a kiss, your first kiss. Might have felt good. You'll never forget that. Your brain won't forget that. First time you told somebody you love them, first time they maybe told you they love you, good feeling, your brain remembers that, it won't forget. But also, a bad thing about euphoria being a good thing is if you use drugs for the first time and you felt as though it felt good, your brain won't forget that either. And if your brain won't forget that, then that's going to make it a little more difficult for a person to utilize this why factor and just stop, because his brain's going to remember what he did and how it felt good. Which also leads into another situation that I want to share with you real fast. I like to call this the sleeping lion theory. Because see, when you get high, the very first time you get high, what you're doing is you're building and creating a lion, the king of the jungle, a lion inside of you. like you're building it. No, let me share something with you. Let me share something with you. When you do that, when you get high for the first time and you build this line, that line is going nowhere ever. I told you earlier, I had 22 years clean. My line is still right here. He just sleep and been asleep for 22 years. Now, let's say you're getting high. You're smoking, you're drinking, whatever your drug of choice is. You're getting high. This line is being built. He's getting stronger. He's getting bigger. His appetite is growing. Okay, you got that picture so far. Now let's just say a year goes by and you run across me. I invite you into my Straighten the Mind device or my Y Factor, and you stop. Kudos to me. Kudos to you too, because you helped me help you stop. Great. Okay, now you stopped. Let's just say you went a year without stopping. Good thing. That's an accomplishment. You went a year without stopping. That's great. But unfortunately, sometimes life happens to smack us in the head. We get high again. Okay, we got high. We fell off the wagon. But the bad thing about that is this. Remember, that line didn't go anywhere. It only went to sleep for that year that you stopped using drugs. So the first J you smoked, the first line you sniffed, the first beer you drank, the first needle you shot in your arm, you woke that line back up. And ask yourself this. If you didn't eat for a year, how hungry would you be? Exactly my point. When you woke that line up, he's hungry and he's ready to eat. And that's why you always hear of scenarios of where a person was getting high, they stopped getting high for a while, and then they fell off the wagon, and when they started getting high again, they went on a binge. That's what happens. Because when they went on this binge, they went crazy for, like, you might not see them for 3, 4, 5, 6 days, because they went on this binge to feed this line that they woke up after a year of being asleep. Now, there is a fortunate to this, even though it doesn't sound like it, but there is a fortunate to this, because while you're out there on that binge, getting high, as long as you've been getting high, you will have some downtime where you can apply that Y factor and start asking yourself some questions. For instance, you can start saying things like, why am I not answering my cell phone? Because believe you me, if you went on a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 day binge, oh, you got some messages on your cell phone. Your mother's calling you, your father's calling you, your husband, your wife, your kids, your job. Somebody's calling you, concerned and wondering where you're at. Where are you? I'm sorry. Why are you not answering the phone? Why are you not calling them back? Why is it that when you go to the ATM machine, you depleted your funds? Why are you walking now because you left your car down the road because you ran out of gas? Why are you standing in front of a convenience store somewhere trying to bum some money, not to put gas in your car to go back home, but to get high again? Why are you putting yourself through this misery away from your family? Putting them through misery because you're away from them. Why are you doing this? So hopefully when you apply that Y factor, it'll let you know you need to take your butt on back home. Now, I really think this Y factor can work because it's simple. It's taken me a couple minutes to explain this to you, but in all honesty, the Y factor, you should apply this right away. As soon as you have a negative thought or negative situation present itself in front of you, you should apply this Y factor right away. It should take no longer than a couple seconds, because you know what they say. They say anything we think about over 7 seconds, we're going to do. We are going to do it. It's a done deal. So you need to apply these questions and this Y factor right away. One of my favorite sayings is, keep it simple, stupid. Now, I'm not calling anybody stupid, but that's a favorite saying of mine. Keep it simple, stupid. Because, I mean, think about it. As parents, when we go buy our kids toys, we got a toy over here that has 30 pieces that we have to put together. We have a toy over here that has 3. Which one you think you want to buy? I'm buying the one that got 3. I'm not trying to put together no 30 pieces of toy. That's like going to work. So that's what I mean by if it's too tedious, if it's too intense, if it's too many steps, if it's too involved, we won't do it. We won't even do it. We won't even remember how to do it. But if it's simple, if it's only a couple of steps or one step or just some question that are really kind of simple to ask ourselves, We'll remember that, and we'll do that. That's why the why factor, I believe, can really help people out. I really believe that. Okay, I'm going to close here, but I'm going to leave you with a thought. Listen, life is supposed to be about fun. It's supposed to be about enjoying ourselves. It's supposed to be about producing, about multiplying, about that big house with the white picket fence and the 2 cars and a dog and the 2 kids. I mean, that's what life's supposed to be about. And if we can have those things, then most likely we'll die happy. Now, we're all going to die. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but we're all going to die. But at least if we have those things, we'll die happy. But if we decide to allow drugs into that equation, oh, something's got to come out. One of those good things has to come out. And I'm going to tell you this. If you decide to add drugs into that equation, the disease that substance abuse is, it will act as if. We all know that when you catch a disease, it gets into your system, it tears your immune system down, and it spreads. So if you allow drugs to enter into your realm, it's going to slowly but surely remove all those positives out of your life. And unfortunately, you may not die happy, or even more unfortunately, you may die real fast and way before your time. So I ask you, please, to keep it simple, keep it moving, and just leave drugs alone. There's nothing good about drugs. Nothing. And maybe one day the tides will turn and it will flip, and we will become the nemesis of drugs as opposed to drugs being our nemesis. Thank you for your time.